Whenever you review a Zack Snyder movie, you know that society is going to cast you into one of two categories after they hear your opinion: a shill or a hater. So I'm going to do my best to tread carefully here. Consider me Zack Snyder's Switzerland, if you will. Neutral. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, is now out on Netflix. It is directed once again and written by Zack Snyder for the conclusion of this Rebel Moon double film thing. And here, hope is beginning to resurface as the villagers of the planet that has been victimized by an evil galactic empire prepare for the oncoming battle with this overwhelming force of evil, now with a resuscitated and resurrected villain seeking revenge against Korra, as all must band together and overcome and fight their demons to win the battle. You can really tell watching that Zack Snyder wants this film to be grand of scale, like a Star Wars, or a Dune 2, or a Lord of the Rings, or something like that, along those lines. He wants a grand story, and he has a vision for it. The vision he has, though, probably is very blurry, needs glasses, and is almost blind. Before I say anything else, let me just say, I actually kind of liked the first Rebel Moon for what it was. I kind of enjoyed it a little bit, and I even said that I liked my experience with it. I'm going to start with my positives first before I talk about my problems with this movie and the issues that it has. This movie is shot gorgeously. Zack Snyder can capture an image that is one of the most beautiful, jaw-dropping things you'll ever see in your life. Genuinely, there are shots in here that could just be set up as a still frame and you think it's just the most glorious art you've ever seen. The film also has some very good action sequences, especially in the third act. There's several that I found really creative and interesting, and they were cool and dynamic and bombastic. Something else that really worked: this robot James, played by Anthony Hopkins, has an incredible backstory here. They flesh him out a little bit, and from what we get of him, I was really invested and I liked what I was getting, and Anthony Hopkins brings some gravitas to this movie with that performance. He really does. The score in here, great stuff. It's got that good, grand feel in here, and I feel like the world building is done very well for this film. It sets up a lot of stuff a lot better for us. Other than that, well, there's really no way to sugarcoat it. This movie is a rough watch. Zack Snyder fails to make a compelling story in here. Zack Snyder is someone that really needs to hire some writers. Like, he says, here's my idea, and they're like, good. We'll figure out how to translate that to pen to paper. You can just figure out how to get it on screen with your direction, because the film has ideas and scope that go nowhere. This film feels bloated and hollow at the exact same time. Like, I feel like I watched a lot of stuff happen and know nothing and didn't care at the end at all. They're not even real people. They just all say things, and the dialogue is so bad that they do say. You don't know anything about them. You don't care about them per se. In fact, there's so little done with these characters. They straight up have a scene where everyone just sits around a table and is like, explain to the audience basically all of your life story. What's your trauma? Why we should feel sorry? And they do it. And theirs will go on for like 8 minutes. And then they'll be like, all right, now it's your turn. You explain your trauma. And they'll do the same thing. And most of it is in slow motion. Like, I'm not lying. There are sequences in the movie that are like 5 minutes straight of uncut slow motion. There's no like cranking. It's just slow-mo. And to give you a perspective how bad that could be, it's sort of like this. And if you thought that was boring and unengaging to watch, imagine that for a full-length feature film. And sometimes there's just so much digital noise happening on screen, you're just kind of sitting there like... The best way to explain this film is missed potential. This film could have been great. It should have been great, and would have been great if handled by the right people with the right mindsets. And I think Zack Snyder should have had a vision in it. I have no problem with that. He could have directed it. His writing, though, is the problem. It all comes down to that. Everything interesting is thrown out. Everything uninteresting is put on screen. Nothing anyone says has any consequence or meaning. And when we finally get to the battle and stuff, it's nowhere near as epic as it should be, and our heroes come across as incompetent, and we're just spoon-fed information and how we should feel about them. It feels forced and it feels rushed. Nothing in here feels flushed out or developed fully. It's so difficult to understand the decisions made here. Opportunity after opportunity is just wasted in this film, and it can't help but feel like it is a Walmart version of Star Wars and other things that I've seen. I wanted to like this film. I really wanted this to be great. It's not, though, and I would be a disservice if I went up here and tried to claim that it was just because I was excited about the vision. The best way to describe this film is cheap video game cutscene-esque. Definitely don't spend your time on it. Stream something else this weekend. Have a better time than this. It's not worth the watch. I'm going to give Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, a 3 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you all next time.